Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are talking about the basics of incubation. I'm going to show you my incubator and how I've got mine set up. But I want to tell you the difference between the two main types of incubators real quick. Mine is a forced air, which means that there is air forced in by a fan that is heated to maintain the temperature inside the incubator, whereas a still air incubator just has a heating element inside that heats the air that's already in there. It doesn't force air in. They tend to be a little less accurate because, well, not less accurate, but they have a harder time keeping temperature maintained properly. It seems to fluctuate more temperature up and down in those still airs. They still work. You might not get as good of a hatch rate using them, but they're cheaper and easier to get, and there's nothing wrong with starting out with them. But that's the main difference between the two. So I'm going to show you mine here real quick. So this is my 1202 GQF incubator. Mine has the external reservoir on it, which is just this bucket with a line on it. So it just holds more water, and it's external. I don't have to open up the incubator to add water all the time. The tray inside is quite a bit smaller than that bucket is, so this just makes it a lot easier. I don't have to fill it up as often, and it's easier to do, and I don't have to open this up and screw up the environment during the incubation process. So I'm going to open this up real quick and give you guys a peek at what it looks like inside. I want to do this quick because I don't want to screw up the temperature for too long. But these are the three rotating trays in it, or racks. Each one will hold two of these types of trays, and then you can double stack them. I don't have enough to double stack yet, but you can fit 12 trays in there once they're double stacked, which means somewhere around 1,200 or 1,300 eggs you can fit in here at a time for quail eggs anyways. So these guys just rotate. Once this is turned on, this switch back here, there's a switch, and once it's turned on, this will rotate. I can't remember if it's every half hour or every 2 hours, but it rotates plenty enough for any eggs really that you don't have to worry about going and hand turning them or setting it to a certain amount of times per day. It just does it often enough that you don't have to worry about it. And then this down here is where they go into lockdown, the lockdown period. We'll talk about that more in a minute. And then up here is where all the humidity stuff is. This is where the water goes into that tray that's plumbed in from that bucket up here. And this is where the humidity is maintained. Those are the two things you got to maintain in here, is temperature and humidity. This little guy on here, this wick, is how I tell the humidity, and I'll tell you more about that here in a second too. And this in here is just the thermometer for the air. That tells me the air temperature. So I'm going to shut it here real quick. We don't have to screw the environment up in there any more than we have to. Get this closed back up. So this right here was the one that was up front, and it's dropped down quite a bit, but it's supposed to be at 100 degrees. And that just tells me the temperature of the air inside, the overall temperature, and that's the control knob right there to increase or decrease the temperature. This back here is for the humidity. It's called the wet bulb method. There's two different ways to tell humidity. There's the wet bulb method, which is what I use and have to because it's this older style incubator. The newer ones will actually read humidity and give you a digital readout of what the humidity percentage is. But this translated through the wet bulb method will just show a temperature range, and you're trying to keep it into a certain temperature range. I'm going to give you these numbers here real quick, guys, for incubation. This is for a forced air incubator. It's going to be different for still air. I'm not sure what the numbers are for that, but this is for a forced air incubator like what I use. For Coturnix Quail, incubation is 16 to 18 days according to GQF, the manufacturer. All mine pretty much hatch on day 17. A couple come in early on day 16, and some even into day 19 will get stragglers. But 17 usually is the day where most of them come in. The incubator stays at 100 degrees. Some people will say it needs to change a half a degree during lockdown. I just keep mine at 100. That's what GQF recommends, and it's always worked well for me. Humidity 45 to 55% if you've got a digital readout that'll actually tell you the percentage. But if you use the wet bulb method like mine and you're just looking for a temperature reading, it's 82 to 86 degrees. Now this changes during the lockdown period. Lockdown period is on day 14, you take all the eggs out of the rotation, stop them from rotating, and put them into that bottom tray where they can be still, and those chicks can orient to hatch. If you're turning them those last few days, you're kind of screwing up all their work while they're trying to orient to hatch. So that's the lockdown period. During the lockdown period, humidity goes up to 55 to 65%, and the wet bulb reading will be 88 to 90. Now the way that you increase the humidity, I'll show you guys this real quick. Open this back up again. Up here in this tray, you put these. You get them from GQF. You can use sponges or other things too, but they just sit down in here. Sorry, sit down in here and just sit there, and these pads soak up all that water and create more space of moisture, so that you're getting more moisture in the air. These ones are looking pretty sad and sorry, and I probably need get more of them that'll stand up straight anymore. Oh, I hear chirping going on in here. Got a couple of stragglers from my last hatch. I just sold 60 birds today. Seems like I got a couple stragglers that hatched late. But that's how you control the humidity in these, how you up the humidity. It's really the only way is you've got to have more moisture in the air, and so you have to have more wetness in the air, and that's how you get it. Also on the back here, you can't really see, but back here on the back, there's 3 holes up top and 3 holes on the bottom, and they have little metal flaps over them, and you can adjust those and cover more or less of those holes, and that helps adjust the humidity as well. I think it's a little different on the 1502s. They're a little more sophisticated, but that's just how they did it on these old 1202 style incubators. And when you're thinking about incubating eggs and you've got your birds and you're deciding when to put them in the incubator, from everything I've been told, 10 days is how long they stay viable. So you'll come out here like I've got mine out here in my trays, and you need to collect them and supposedly keep them at room temperature within 10 days. And once they're 10 days old, supposedly the hatch rate will go down, your viability will go down. I'm in the process of testing that and seeing how long they stay viable, but for now I'm going by that 10-day rule until I test that more and figure out for myself if that's true or not. But that seems to be the general standard rule is 10 days, though I've heard people that have gone weeks at room temperature and they still get good hatch rates. So we'll see. I'm going to kind of experiment with that and try and push it to the limit and see, when they actually do have a significant decline and drop off in viability. So keep that in mind when you're going to put eggs in the incubator, or if you're buying eggs from someone else, make sure you know and trust that they, especially if you're getting them shipped to you, that they're not shipping to you 9 days old, and then have 3 days shipping to you or whatever. So just some things to keep in mind. I think that's all for this video. Remember to check out the Urban Aviary Facebook page, the forum. We have almost 100 members there. I want to reach that 100 member goal. So get in there and join that. There's a lot of cool stuff going on there. Remember, you can always contact me at Jaron@urbanaviary.com if you have any questions. And until that next video, remember, you guys can do this too.